Hi, I'm Matt the Collie Guy, and this is my timeline special part 2. Now, let's begin. It's been several years since we last seen of William Afton, or the people of the town of Fazbear have seen William Afton. Last time he was established as not as a good man as he used to be when he invented Fredbear's. But one thing stood in his way: the Fazbear crew. And another thing could have stayed in his way: Ennard. Ennard being one of the animatronics that's been left. FNAF 1 animatronics have been destroyed. FNAF 2 animatronics have been destroyed. The puppet is no longer being around yet. Most of all, it has been days since Ennard been last seen. That changes. And Ennard has been wandering around the sewer, looking to whoever can find him, but he can't. Meanwhile, the animatronics, afterwards, decided to have Circus Baby no longer be a part of them, thanks to them disagreeing with each other. And ever since then, they never had Circus Baby around. Circus Baby was trying to find new pieces of scraps so she could become Scrap Baby. Well, Ennard, meanwhile, followed for days, eventually thinking of an idea to become Molten Freddy. So let's just explain this guy's part of the story in a nutshell. That was the explanation for what Ennard it was last seen in the story before becoming Molten Freddy. That was a bit of explanation of Ennard. Ennard being a combination of the Funtime animatronics, just like William Afton, has a single theory of it. It's called Molten MCI. Now, what are you doing?
There was something on the screen.
What does that theory apply to? Well, they're trying to explain how the victim from the missing children's incident were never actually shown a pizzeria simulator because they've all been melted together into the Fun Times, who then turn into Ennard, aka Molten Freddy, aka much later on the Blob, or Tangled, as he's officially called. But there is one thing you have to notice. A quick Google search will actually show you. If you ask if the FNAF 3 ending canon, Google actually says this: breaking news, the good ending of Final Fantasy phrase 3 ends canon, meaning Molten MCI is debunked. And there you go. That's how to explain the confusion of Ennard in the story. Moving on. Several days has passed and many people didn't want to do this night guard / daytime job sort of thing that the previous people of Fazbear's did. And obviously for good reason. Many employees that were unknown at the time are gone, including Phone Guy. A couple of seasons happened since the Spring Locks incident. And many things other happened that made people refused to open another Fazbear entertainment location. This gave one man an idea, discovering if there's anyone he can see that continues on discovering these animatronics. And one place he found was a surprise to him. Years had passed, and Fazbear's has been seen forgotten. After Fazbear's has seen forgotten, Henry came up with a plan. He built a machine that can capture the puppet. He was successful at doing so. He called it Lefty, or Lure, Encapsulate, and Fuse. Meanwhile, by decades going by, there were many people had told legends about the Fazbear Entertainment restaurants. And many people had rediscovered old animatronics by junkyards by several times. And it's unfortunate to get some idea of finding new ways to build their own animatronics. Many discoveries happened years by. And with that time being over, Springtrap rises up and simply barely remembers what happened before. But people had a new plan. They saw the Springtrap animatronic and decided to take it to their trucks. Where people are trying to recover for what happened before in the Fazbear image. They decided to plan to work on a Fazbear horror attraction called Fazbear Fright. They ended up building an attraction. It took them decades until 2023 when they finally opened it. They hired a security guard who was unknown, really. The guy that he plays in the third game is unknown. He continues on for a few nights until Fazbear Fright burns to the ground. Springtrap escapes, however, and gets a new design. It's just called a Scrap Trap. And this is the point in the story where I'm going to explain another character that has not a good way of discovering theories. That is the point where we had explained about Springtrap. Springtrap, originally known as the Spring Bodysuit, also known as William Afton. It's a spring-like suit that used to be part of Fredbear's Family Diner, before years later becoming something else. A psychotic machine. Just like Ennard, he also had a bad theory connected to him. People used to believe that him and Phone Guy used to be the same character, but that's not true anymore. But also, doesn't be as hard to figure out as Ennard, because his backstory is the easiest one to figure out. The only problem is that into other theories that we might go back to. The theory that I'm talking about connects to another theory, but we'll come back to this later. After a while, the animatronics that used to be in the previous locations are all gathered up, including Michael Afton. Suddenly, Henry has an idea. He burns the Fazbear and Statue to the ground, burning off William, Molten Freddy, Scrap Baby, and his daughter, also known as the puppet, and Michael Afton and himself. Finally, the events of Happy Days Day happens. With the puppet now here, he finally sets the missing children's events and sets their souls to rest, putting the end of the timeline. Or is it? Because right after this, Fazbear Entertainment reopens. And now they made a VR game to cover up their bad process. So they have a VR texter called Vanessa. And then afterwards, she's controlled by the entity known as Glitch Trap. And with this control, she now takes on a new name, Vanny. And this is where a security breach happens. Fazbear Entertainment somehow afterwards builds a Fazbear Entertainment system. Fazbear Entertainment Pizzaplex. In the meanwhile, they decided to have a Fazbear delivery service. This is where all things in security breach happen. Now, the canon ending is the Pigeon Twist ending. Gregory and Grandma Freddy free Vanessa from her control, and they finally get out of there. And then Ruin happens, where a character you play as called Cassie is your player character, and then all the events of that game unfolds. And that was the FNAF Timeline Part 2. Trust me, this one has been a long time coming, but I'm Matt the Comic Guy, and I see you in the next video. Bye.